Welcome back, Closet Pickers. Today we're doing something special. I'm with my good friend Terry Feldot. We are here in Salle, Illinois, and we are at Terry's Guitar Junkyard. Terry, welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad that you could come by and see the junkyard. Just preparing to start a string instrument museum, and I will retire from the sales game. I'll still do my repair work.
Please,
but
you can't stop doing that.
I don't want to stop doing that, but I will be retiring from the sales thing. And then the museum will be the last thing that I'll put a lot of energy in, probably hopefully before I die again.
How soon do you think that the museum will be open?
About a year.
About a year.
Yeah, I'm not putting a time schedule really super on it, but about a year it's going to take to remodel the building that we're in right now.
Everything's going upstairs?
Well, no, everything will be down here.
Okay.
But a lot of stuff will be going upstairs while we remodel the downstairs.
Oh, I
portion.
see. So this is going to be the main museum?
Yeah, this will be the main museum that
Okay.
we're sitting in right now.
Ah, okay.
And it really won't look too much different than it looks probably through the camera lens right now, but it'll be organized a little bit better.
Okay, nice.
And my whole goal is to just educate people on the evolution of string instruments and give a little tourist attraction for the city of Salle, which is the town we're in right now.
Very nice.
I wanted to do it for about 25 years, but didn't really put a whole lot of energy in it until I had a heart attack 3 years ago. And then I said, yep, it's time to do the museum now.
I'm sure it'll be wonderful. I mean, when you look around here, this is not your basic guitar shop. It's very eclectic in here.
It takes a long time to walk through this place.
Yeah.
Even I see things that I haven't seen for a while. It is for string instrument people who like different kinds of string instruments, and I have a whole bunch of different kinds. It's a fascinating museum to be. I started the Guitar Junkyard in 1979 in Ames, Iowa.
Oh, wow.
And it was called the Major Minor Fretted Instruments at that time. And then I had a stained glass window made that said Guitar Junkyard, and my wife says, that's not a very good name to start a business. Why don't you change it to something else? So I had a friend who had a band called Willie Tune 'em Up and the Major Minor Boys. And I said, I think I'll call it Major Minor Fretted Instruments, because I'll be repairing major instruments and minor instruments and selling major and minor instruments. So it's been around since '79. We're almost coming to 50 years.
Wow.
But its demise is close because the Guitar Junkyard will close as a sales organization. Okay. But the repair business will still be the Guitar Junkyard.
And that's about a year.
And that'll be about a year. Now, I have a little room in the back of the shop here that I'm going to put any sales, and I'll have a little repair shop there. But the main repair shop will be upstairs. And so anything that has to be done that's a large item, I'll do upstairs, but little tiny things, restrings, pickup exchanges, that kind of easy stuff, strap buttons, we'll do down here. And you'll have to come through the back door to come to that place. That room will become a demonstration room once the museum starts. And I'll have some project in there that I'll either be working on, or I'll have a luthier in the area working on an instrument so people can see guitars, mandolins, violins being worked on and repaired and or built.
And that's very unique because you don't always get the chance to see that. They're always in obviously a closed off room by themselves. Which is, understandable.
And one of the fascinating things about the junkyard over time has been that I do repairs while you wait. And that is so important because usually when you take a repair into a store, it's 2 weeks. It's you take it there, it's 1 week to get it to the guy that's going to repair it, and it's a week to get it back to the store, and that's a 2-week thing. Yeah. When it's something as simple as maybe putting an output jack in.
Right.
Which I do immediate. It's not major surgery.
Right. So tell me your music journey. How did you start? What was that light that hit you that went, man, I want to play, because you're a killer banjo player. You're a great guitar player. I mean, you've got it all down, and I just tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so my first experience of seeing a guitar player was I was a Cub Scout, and the Cub Scout troop brought in a hillbilly country singer. a Southern Appalachian country singer.
Wow.
And he played Hank Williams tunes, and I just got fascinated immediately by that. Well, I really didn't get going until the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan. That got me into it. But I didn't really get going until that period of time. And at that point, I really started studying more, putting my time and energy into the guitar. And when you're in high school, you have no cares in the world, so you can practice all the time, you can play all the time. I was lucky to be I was lucky to be with a bunch of guys who played lots of different kinds of music, which was, we just didn't play Beatles and Stones. We played Mamas and the Papas and Peter, Paul and Mary. Different genres, blues players, different genres of music, some jazzy stuff. Tom Hicks and the Hot Licks, Eagles. You know, we played a lot of different material.
Yeah.
So I got a good education growing up, playing different kinds of music. I didn't just stick with one.
Nice.
And the banjo came in about 1972. And at that time, I went full blast into it. And that's what I've been playing probably more than guitar since that period of time. Got real lucky and almost got to the big time. Got to play with a tremendous mandolin player, probably the greatest mandolin player to play on this planet, Jethro Burns. And toured with Jethro for 4 years. And that was a opening my eye experience to show business, which I found out I didn't like traveling. So the Guitar Junkyard was a place at that time. So every time I had to go on tour, I had to leave the junkyard and leave it with somebody who I hopefully trusted, and then come back to it. So I was going back and forth, and I just didn't like it.
It's tough to leave something that you know is yours and trust the person.
I mean, I feel as much at home in the junkyard as I do at my house, you know. So it's, but trying to trust somebody, and that's, you know, if I gave anybody a tip that was going to go into business, is do the business with people that you know very well, because you might get let down along the way.
Well, it's nice to come back and see it in the shape that you left it in.
Yeah.
Or even actually even a little bit better.
And there are some horror stories.
Yeah.
So, so I started playing banjo in '72 and did album in 1980 with Jethro Burns. Did videos. We were on television in Iowa. We traveled 4 states, and it was a joy. We went to bluegrass festivals, and we were one of the top bands at the festivals, along with big names like Country Gazette and Doc Watson.
Wow.
And Norman Blake. We got to meet all these stars that I'd been listening to their records. So I was totally blown away by it. And it was fun. The band I was in was very good. We got good reviews on the record. And we traveled abroad. We went out down to Guatemala a couple times on educational jaunts.
Oh, nice. So
So that was fun. And be able to give the culture of bluegrass to another country. And so that was sort of nice. It was an enjoyable experience. I've played in bands since I was 12 years old. And now the latest band is the Henry Torpedo Boys. And we've been around for about 20 years. We're all about 70 now. Some of us a little older than 70, but we've been doing that for a long time. We're a specialty sort of band. We play any kind of music on acoustic instruments, primarily bluegrass oriented, but we play blues, rock, jazz, swing, reggae. We play all the different forms of music. We have a lot of fun. Guys we've been together 20 years. How many bands do you know that have been together 20 years?
It's a tough thing.
It's hard to
find.
do.
Yeah.
It's
We're
hard
on
to do.
18.
You're on 18.
Yeah,
wow.
we're on 18. So
fantastic.
we're creeping up behind you.
Yep, you're creeping up behind us.
Any of those banjo pickers out there that think about it, it's just always amazes me watching you play and watching the banjo roll. So difficult, because I try to do it on guitar, and I think what they call a hybrid. It's almost a banjo roll.
You chicken pick. That's what that's called.
It's not a true banjo roll. And I just sat like a Jerry Reed, you know, real good with chat, obviously, on the guitar and stuff. I just love watching you do that roll, and it's 5 notes that finishes it, isn't it? Or something?
It's a 5-string instrument, and most of the rolls are three-finger rolls.
3 finger,
But you have to play a melody along with that rhythmic roll.
Yeah.
So that's where the toughness of it is. And every roll has to be the same speed, and you can't slow it down in any way, shape, or form, because that stops the rhythm of the song totally.
And then everybody crashes.
Once you get better, you can fake your way through some things. But if that roll gets hindered in any way, you're dead. Everybody has got a problem.
I've got those first 3 down. It's getting past that first 3. I can do those first 3 just quick as anything, but it's just getting to continually going.
It's almost like you have to get into the music of, let's say, bluegrass, because there's claw hammer that's very fascinating style also. I've tried to learn how to play claw hammer, but every time I try it, my fingers go back to the 3-finger style. But it is a really cool, hopefully I have enough time on this planet to learn how to claw hammer. And that's the oldest style of banjo playing, is the claw hammer.
What exactly is that?
It's a thumb index finger, sort of a slapping motion.
Grandpa Jones?
Grandpa Jones, string bean.
Oh my gosh! It was just the whole wrist movement, and they're just like
It's before the rolls became important. You had the claw hammer style, which probably comes out of English music or Irish music, going back ways.
Wow.
On that. Because again, it was not. Music is a rhythmic form, and then the melodies take place. Well, in a band, if you have a good fiddler or a good guitar player or a good mandolin player, the banjo can just play rhythm. It's a rhythmic instrument. So you can get away with playing claw hammer. And a lot of modern bands today play claw hammer in the bands.
Wow.
It's a fascinating style. And there's guys who can play claw hammer as fast as 3-finger style bluegrass. And Earl Scruggs, he fused all the different styles of 3-finger rolls into the Scruggs style. And that's where his importance is. He got to see guys who just played backward rolls. He saw the guys who played forward rolls. He saw guys who did the in and out thumb technique. Like you said, Chet Atkins. The thumb is so important a lot of times. And then he fused that all together to become the bluegrass style that everybody plays today.
The thumb is your rhythm.
It's your drone, basically.
That's basically your bass part.
You're playing that, and that's just keeping timing, boom, boom, boom. And so he was the one who put that all together. Like Bill Monroe is the father of the mandolin and bluegrass is what they say, but Earl Scruggs is the father of the 5-string banjo. If you don't learn, and there's a lot of isms in that, okay? I say there's a lot of isms in the bluegrass music. Most guitar players don't spend the time to learn the different isms of pull-offs, push-offs, slides,
Hammers.
bends, hammer-ons. That's the isms of bluegrass. Just like on guitar, you have hammer-ons and you have push-offs, but most of the guitar is done with the pick or with your fingers, and you're not doing these special techniques along with that and again that drone string, the high G. You're not putting that in with it. So that's where the complexity of banjo is.
Well, it's because the right hand becomes more busier than the left hand.
Yeah.
Any kind of style like that, especially with the rolls or anything, you always, when you watch a bluegrass or a flat picker or anything, that their right hand is doing way more than their left.
Oh yeah, the left hand is really not as important as the right hand, and in banjo that's definitely the case. So I mean, and you can play. I mean, again, if you have fingers missing or anything, you can still play the instrument, but you should have everything.
We don't want to test that theory.
Yeah, I don't want to test those theories.
We came here to the store. Tell me what this instrument is behind you.
Okay, you wanted me to look at a couple instruments that I thought were important to the museum. And the one directly behind me right here is probably my oldest instrument in the museum. And we really don't know exactly how old it is, but it's a Japanese kodo, C-O-D-O or K-O-D-O. And geisha girls used to play it in the high-class Japanese restaurants and bars and played it for the kings. And it has a really unique tone.
Seems like it would almost be like a, not quite a sitar, but that, yeah.
It's more on the, yeah, it has a sitarish effect to it. Now, this one is probably 500 years old. And the story that I got when I bought it from the individual is that the individual I bought it from's father went into Hiroshima after they dropped the bomb.
Okay.
And he was trying to clean up the mess that was there, and there was, people on the streets, and there was a lot of dead people and that kind of thing going on after that terrible disaster. Well, this old Japanese guy was carrying this thing on the street and asked him, the American, to buy it so that he could get food for his family.
Wow.
So he bought it. He brought it all the way back from Japan, and then I bought it probably about 30 years ago. And I told him that if I found out that it was like 1,000 years old or 2,000 years old, because it's very old. It's got fish line for strings, and that's one of the things that before there was steel strings, people used fish line and catgut.
Catgut, yeah.
So this one actually has the original fish line on it, I think. It hasn't been changed. There has a few bridge pieces have been changed. And these bridge pieces would be moved to different places to play different songs. So it has sort of a sitarish thing, yeah. In different regions of Japan, there might be different kinds of songs that were played, and the strings would have different tunings.
I was going to say moving those would
And
change
moving
the
that,
tuning.
changing the tuning
Yeah,
for a
changing the
particular
pitch.
song.
Oh, wow.
On the sitar, the frets actually can be moved. They're bars, and the frets can be moved to change the tunings for different
Did not know
regions. One of the things you'll learn at the String Instrument Museum when you come down in about a year is that the sitar started out as a 7-string instrument called the vinya, which blossomed into the instrument it is today. Still has the 7 main strings, but it has about 26 sympathetics, which are tuned to the keys of the strings on above. So when you hit them, sympathetics will vibrate, and that's where you get that wah, wah sound out
Wow.
of the sitar. It's a fantastic instrument. It's very difficult to play. I've tried goofing around with it. You can hardly sit down with it anyway. It's made of gourds, and it's a very interesting instrument.
George Harrison, right?
Yeah, George Harrison made it sort of famous in the United States. Ravi Shankar taught him a little bit how to play it. But yeah, George Harrison brought it into some of the Beatles albums early on.
Right.
And it had that unique sound that we had never listened to. People in the West here had never heard. So, and that's a lot of instruments that are over in the old world, we've never really heard too much of. And that's part of my thing about the String Instrument Museum is I want to get those instruments and show the beginnings of instruments that we have today, what they look like 2,000 years ago, if not even sooner. People always ask me, what do you think is the first string instrument? And I have a demonstration piece in my store here, and I call it the bone guitar. And I found a real bone, which had a piece of sinew on it and or muscle, and it was tight. And I struck it, and it has a note. And I said, aha, this is interesting. And being that I graduated college as an anthropologist, I said, okay, this is very interesting. Where did it start out at? Now, the bone has a lot of similarities to the bow and arrow. Okay, I mean, it's one string tightened on a length. And so the bow and arrow, but the bow and arrow comes in way later in technology than the bone guitar would be. A caveman could have found the bone with the piece on it, and when he struck it, it talked to him. This is the fascinating thing about history of man, is they had no idea what things were. Things that they would, if they struck 2 rocks together, they made noise. If they beat on a log, it had a drum, it had a note there, it had sound. They didn't know what this stuff was. They thought it was magic. So him striking this one string was magic. And when he took it back to his tribe, they all thought it was a spirit of some type. and the spirit of
Wow.
music. It's a very interesting concept, but I call it the bone guitar, and it could have come around at any time. Now, have been found bone whistles in caves in Colorado and in caves in France and Germany and Italy. And they found bone whistles. Well, the bone whistles, fascinating thing about the bone whistle is the notes that they put on it are exactly the same separation of notes that you would have on a flute.
Wow.
There's not as many of them, but like the 7 major notes, they're the same distances apart. So they figured that out somehow way back when. And that's like starting to where the guitar comes from, if it is the bone guitar. I always say that what comes next is that he remembers, this caveman goes back to his bone picking yard, and he finds 3 more bones that are of different sizes with the sinew still on
Give
them.
you a different note.
And there's different notes on each one of them. Well, he puts them together, and what do we have is a harp. So now we have a harp made. Now this could have taken thousands of years to take place, but that's the fascinating thing about musical instruments, is that they just are not what they look like now. They have gone through all this technology and trials and error. Unbelievable.
It just really hit me on how valuable this museum is going to be, because it's not just a guitar shop. It's just not a stringed instrument shop. It's history. You just gave a history lesson, basically.
Yeah.
So hopefully, when you do open this up, you're going to have what you just told us available to everybody that walks through the door.
Yeah.
Because that is obviously, I've never heard anything like that.
My gist of the thing is, every museum you go into, you can't touch anything. Everything's behind glass. Well, mine's going to be a hands-on museum. So I might have something behind glass that's a vintage instrument of some type, but I'll have one sitting right next to it that somebody can pick up and play. So any student who doesn't know what a zither sounds like, let's say, there'll be a zither there. And if he had no chance of ever hearing what a zither sounded like, he would never play it. He could be the greatest zither player in the world, but never have a chance to play it. And that's what I want to have, is give the kids a chance to see what a zither is, or see what a ukulele is, or see what a hammered dulcimer and why it's different, and give them the opportunity to hear it and then explore it.
In Morris, we have the Dulcimer Fest, and I haven't had the opportunity to actually go, but when I've driven past, it's just people as far as you can see. I mean, it is so well attended. It's amazing. I mean,
there's a huge society. When I lived out in Washington, D.C., they had a huge society of mandolin players. I saw 100 mandolin orchestra while I was out there. And I mean, you just don't think of that.
There were orchestra of just mandolins.
Just mandolins. I mean, there's all sorts of mandolins. There's mandolin, mandola, mandocellos, mando basses, and everything in between. There's 8 strings, 6 strings, 12-string mandolin. I mean, there's everything. The mandolin isn't just what we see today. And it was played heavily, just like the ukulele was played heavily in the 20s and became very popular. And there were mandolin orchestras that traveled the country playing ukuleles, the littlest, tiniest little instrument that you could ever want to think about. Little tiny ukuleles like that. And the story of how the ukulele came about is just as fascinating, but I won't bore you with it right now.
We'll save that for the museum.
Yeah, that's what brings the people in, let me tell you.
Well, Terry, thank you so much for this wonderful lesson, and we really excited to see this open. And it's a beautiful thing as it is right now, but I feel it's just only going to get better.
You know, my whole concept from the beginning was to make a place where people get together to play music.
And we've done that here.
And we've done that here. We've done that kind of thing here. And I was going to have a program room, so I would have some type of program going on every day too. And actually put on programs to show the difference between what a violin technique is and a fiddle technique is. So people can hear and see and watch this different technique and style. It could be just as small, like the difference between finger picking a guitar and flat picking a guitar. Those things people don't see when they're watching television.
Right.
So that's the enjoyment of, I mean, again, I have this excitement about it. When I got into playing guitar, it didn't stop there. I got into playing it, and then I fell in love with the science of it. And I built guitars. I built electric and acoustic guitars, but I didn't have time because I was mostly a repairman. And so there's an old adage that says if you repair guitars and string instruments, you don't have time to build them. And if you build them, you don't have time to repair them. So I chose the repair business because it went better with the business. But if I could have just done the repair business from the word go, I would have done that and not worry about the business end.
Well, if you're in the area of LaSalle, Illinois, come check out Terry.
We're here, and we're going to have a little sabbatical here for about the next year. But if you go to my website, Guitar Junkyard Facebook Museum, you're going to be able to see the changes taking place. And then also a lot of the instruments, we'll have those on the website also. So you'll be actually be able to see a virtual museum in the beginning and learn about the pieces, and then see the museum as it develops and becomes a real thing.
That's incredible.
I mean, if we walked around here right now, you would still see a museum, but you see a repair shop, you see a sales shop, and a museum. So it's cluttered pretty heavy duty.
Only you know where everything's at.
Only I know where everything's at. So thanks for having me here. This
Terry,
has been a gas.
It's been an absolute joy. We appreciate it so much. Terry's Guitar Junkyard. Come check them out, LaSalle, Illinois. Wait for that museum. And thank you again. We'll see you guys real soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.